With the NBA season just a couple of weeks away, everybody feels like their team has a chance to hoist the Larry O.B. If you want your team to win the NBA Finals, I want you to like this video right now. Welcome into NBA Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green, and today's video is sponsored by Mint Mobile, a cell phone provider that's going to help you save money. They offer cell phone plans with unlimited talk and unlimited text for as low as $15 per month. All you got to do is go to mintmobile.com/chatsports. Links in the comments and description of this video, and we'll tell you more about them later on in the show. But in today's show, we're going to take a look at a list that was put out by NBA.com. They went through all 30 teams in the association and pointed out one player on every single team that has something to prove this season. I agree with some, I don't agree with others, but we're going to go through every single one, and then me and producer Coop will give you our thoughts and opinions on the list. Let's start with the Atlanta Hawks, as NBA.com selected DeAndre Hunter as the player for the Hawks, the 4th overall pick in the 2019 NBA draft. He hasn't really, I would say, lived up to the hype of where he was selected, but he's always flashed a little bit. He could do a little bit of everything on the offensive end, and he's a solid defender as well. But this is a guy, Coop, that you're expecting to take another step this year. He's got to get to that point in the league where he can be a difference maker in a lineup with DeJounte Murray and Trae Young. I'm a fan of Hunter, but I think he's at this point in his career, he needs to take another step. Another guy that is on this list for the Boston Celtics is Malcolm Brogdon, is the player that the NBA.com peeps has as the player for the Celtics that needs something to prove. A guy that's missed a couple of seasons or games in the past couple of seasons due to injury. The Celtics, they made a big trade for a guy like Malcolm Brogdon, and look, they're expecting him to come in and help them get to the NBA Finals, and this time, Coop, walk away as winners like they were unable to do this past year in the Finals. I like Brogdon. I think it was a good pickup by the Celtics, but he's got to be healthy.
Yeah, it was a big pickup by the Celtics. You know, falling short in the Finals was a surprise because they didn't expect to be there in the first place. Yeah. And so I think they're ahead of schedule, and they're getting Brogdon to get them over the hump. We don't know if he's going to start or be the sixth man, but it's a huge pickup. Might be one of the more underrated pickups in the NBA this year.
And even if he doesn't start, I could see him in their closing lineup with him, Marcus Smart, Tatum, and Jaylen Brown, and Robert Williams when he gets back, or early on to start the season, a guy like Horford. I'm a big fan of Brogdon. I think it's going to be a good spot for him. Someone that I think everybody can agree that has something to prove is good old Ben Simmons. Essentially forced his way out of Philadelphia, ended up with the Nets, and look, he's not the focal point anymore. It's Kyrie Irving, it's Kevin Durant, and then it's Ben Simmons. And look, I think the Nets are going to go as far as Ben Simmons takes them. If he stays healthy, if Kyrie stay healthy, that's a team that can compete in the East. But if Ben Simmons does what he's done the past couple of years, I think the Nets are going to be what they've been the past couple of years. I think the fate of their season really rests on the shoulders of Ben Simmons, the former number 1 overall pick. With Ben Simmons, it's all about availability. The best ability is availability. He hasn't really been that the past couple of years. So I'll ask you, 65 games played for Ben Simmons this season. Type O for over, type U for under. I want to hear from all of you in the comments right now. P.J. Washington was the player for the Charlotte Hornets, the 6'7" forward. He can handle his own on the glass, and he can stretch the floor from deep. He can be a factor on defense, but can he do those things at a high enough rate to merit a contract extension? Coop, I know you have some thoughts about P.J. Washington. Let everybody know what you're thinking.
P.J. Washington's a really athletic guy. He plays the 4, but he can really put it on the deck. He can really defend. He's an underrated part of that Hornets team, along with LaMelo Ball and that young core. They're going to be a nice duo to go together for the next couple of years.
With no Miles Bridges this year, he's going to have an opportunity for a bigger role this year, and he's trying to go secure that bag, so you know he's going to go out there playing with everything he's got.
It's a contract year, man. You always have to get that bag.
Go get that paper, man. P.J. Washington, you know he's going to be doing that, especially with all the stuff he goes through off the court. If you know, you know. Patrick Williams is the something-to-prove player for the Chicago Bulls. I like Williams, a really good defender. I think he can defend pretty much every position on the court. kind of have a question mark around the Bulls this year. If Lonzo Ball's not going to be able to play a lot, that's going to put a lot of pressure on a guy like Alex Caruso. But Williams, I think he's a good player, has some stuff to prove, but he's he's still a young player, was drafted 4th overall in 2020. This is a guy that still has a lot to learn, a lot to do. But look, if the Bulls are trying to make another step in the Eastern Conference, he's a guy that's got to step up and be a difference maker, not only on defense, but on the offensive side of the court as well. A difference maker for you will be Mint Mobile. I can guarantee you that. Unlimited premium wireless cell phone plans starting as low as $15 per month. Look, unlimited talk, unlimited text. Go to mintmobile.com/chatsports. They are on the largest 5G network. Look, you're going to be calling your mom so much, she's going to be like, why are you calling me so much? It's like, yo, I got Mint Mobile. I got unlimited talk. I got unlimited text. I promise you, you're not going to regret it. Get started today. mintmobile.com/chatsports. The best part is you don't have to go into the store to change your cell phone provider. You could do it over the phone. You could do it online. And you get to keep your same phone and your same phone number. It's a no-brainer. Get started today. mintmobile.com/chatsports. Donovan Mitchell was the player selected by NBA.com for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Look, the Cavs, they traded a whole lot for him. I don't think he has a lot to prove, except on the defensive end. He's got to get better there. I'm a big fan of Spida, a playoff performer. Christian Wood was the player for the Dallas Mavericks. He was selected acquired in a trade, for the Dallas Mavericks. Sounds like he's going to come off the bench to start the year. But look, if he continues to get buckets and rebounds at a high clip, and he's in a contract year, there's no way J. Kidd cannot put him in the lineup and get more minutes. I think Wood, by the end of the season, will be a key piece for this Mavs lineup. Michael Porter Jr. battled some injuries the past couple of years, was really good in 2021, wasn't that good in 2022 due to injuries. He's already on a max contract, but look, it's all about that next bag. And if he wants to get that next bag, he's got to play big this year. Marvin Bagley was the player selected for the Detroit Pistons. Detroit basketball. Marvin Bagley, I loved him coming out of college, but he hasn't really lived up to the hype of being that early draft pick, but he did look better and more comfortable with the Pistons. Young team there, him, Ivy, Kane Cunningham, a lot of young potential. Maybe he finds his place there with the Pistons going forward. James Wiseman, the former 2nd overall pick. Look, I would say this. The Warriors won the title in spite of James Wiseman. They had the 2nd overall pick, and they won the finals, and he didn't contribute at all. That speaks to how good this organization is run. Could it be like another piece, though, Coop, that could help them go back-to-back and be relevant for the next 2, 3, 4, or 5 years?
It's pretty crazy how good the Warriors have been at drafting, and then they draft James Wiseman, who's been a complete bust to this point, and they're still winning titles and still in a dynastic run. It's pretty crazy. I like Wiseman. I think he has a lot of potential, but as of right now, I don't see his fit with the Warriors.
Yeah, I don't really see the fit in either, and when you have those lower extremity injuries for big men early on in their career, they usually don't fade away. But best luck to him. I think he's a guy that has potential to be great. I just don't know if it's with the Golden State Warriors. A guy that knows how to get buckets, I don't know if he's a winning basketball player, is Kevin Porter Jr. He's got all the talent in the world. He could score at all 3 levels. He could be a primary ball handler. But look, this is a team now with Jabari Smith and Jalen Green. He's going to be that 3rd option. Maybe that's the best place for him to succeed in the NBA. Myles Turner, a guy that's been in trade rumors for, it seems like, the past couple of years. One of my favorite players in the NBA. He's a big that can stretch the floor, and he's one of the best shot blockers in the NBA. Look, the Pacers are kind of taking a new approach to things. It's him and Tyrese Halliburton. You still got Buddy Hield there. But with the trade rumors circulating, Turner's going to look to have a big year and cash in once he enters free agency. Kawhi Leonard for the LA Clippers, a guy that hasn't played in, it seems like, 2 years by now. We know how good Kawhi Leonard is, and we know how good the Clippers can be if they get healthy, if that team's healthy. Him and Paul George, that's a team in the Western Conference that could beat anybody, and nobody wants to play. Anthony Davis missed some time last year due to injury, but he didn't really play good when he played. He shot terrible from 3. Look, if the Lakers want to be great, Anthony Davis has to be great, and LeBron James have to be great. They both have to play like MVPs if LA wants to chase another title. I'm expecting big things from AD coming up this year. Jaren Jackson is the player for the Memphis Grizzlies. Is he ready to take that next step and be one of the top big men in the NBA? I think he's on the cusp, but look, that team It is skyrocketing. The stock of that team is up, and it's going to continue to go up. Him and Ja Morant, a good young nucleus. But Jaren Jackson has to take that another step and be a guy that can compete for like the Defensive Player of the Year award. He has that potential. If he does, that team's going to be really, really good this year. I'll ask you this question because we're talking about some guys that have stuff to prove and can improve in their games a lot. So I'll ask you, with Ja Morant winning it last year, who will win Most Improved Player in the NBA this year? Get your votes in right now. Duncan Robinson, arguably the most overpaid player in the NBA, got that bag from Pat Riley and Spoelstra in Miami. And look, they essentially benched him last year, and that's why I respect what Miami does. They say, F the optics, the best player plays. They benched him for an undrafted player. That pissed off Duncan Robinson. You know that. He wants to get back on the court and be a big contributor for the Heat in the East this year. Giannis is somehow on this list, and NBA's.com is pretty much saying, because Giannis said in his media availability that he was asked, do I believe I'm the best in the world? He said, no. I think I'm the player in the world is the same person that is the last one standing. Pretty much saying he doesn't feel like he's the best, so he still has stuff to prove. Could he look to get his third MVP this year? What about ice water in my veins, D'Angelo Russell? The Minnesota Timberwolves made a big trade for Rudy Gobert this offseason. That team's now in win-now mode with Russell, with Anthony Edwards, with Karl Anthony Towns, and Rudy Gobert. Those are four really good players. Let's see if Russell can put his foot and stamp himself as a guy, as the lead guard for Minnesota going forward. Zion Williamson, if you haven't seen, he looks great. He looks like he lost about 55 pounds. He looks strong. He looks athletic. Look, if Zion Williamson can stay healthy this year, I have him as a guy that can compete for the MVP. Love Zion, one of the most physically gifted players we've ever seen touch the hardwood. This guy's going to have a big year for the Pelicans if he stays healthy. RJ Barrett, he just secured the bag, but it wasn't the bag that I think he was looking for. He saw guys like Zion Williamson and Darius Garland in his draft class get a max contract. RJ didn't do that. And I think he has something to prove going into year 4. Year 4, RJ Barrett is going to be a motion picture. This is someone that's trying to be an all-star this year. And if he's an all-star next to a guy like Jalen Brunson, this Knicks team can compete in the Eastern Conference. What about Lou Dort for the OKC Thunder? From undrafted to a 5-year, $87.5 million extension. If he can continue to shoot really good percentage from deep, needs to get better in that area. We know he's a lockdown defender, but can he establish himself as an offensive threat and a sharpshooting specialist next to guys like SGA and Giddey on that Thunder squad? Jonathan Isaac, always one of my favorite players in the NBA just because of the versatility he brings. 6'11", 7-foot wing that can guard 2 through 5. Just needs to be a little bit more healthy, a little bit more consistent. Look, I think he's going to be a free agent coming up this offseason. He's going to be looking to secure that bag. Only way to do that is if he plays like he's got a chip on his shoulder this season. James Harden is probably the player on this list that I think has the most to prove. A lot of people have written James Harden off. A former MVP, a guy that was the best player on a team that's finished first in the Western Conference. Can he and Joel Embiid be a great duo and get Philadelphia back to being a team that can compete for the finals? I like Harden. I don't know if he's got the best days of basketball in front of him. I think those days are now behind him. DeAndre Ayton. Look, it has not been a pretty thing for the Phoenix Suns this offseason. The Game 7 debacle against the Dallas Mavericks where they lost by, it seemed like, 200 points. And him and Monty Williams got into it. And, yeah, Luka was their daddy, the Dallas Mavericks. Look, Ayton's got stuff to prove. He signed that max contract offer sheet, got matched by the Suns. Let's see if he can put all that behind him and be the best player this year and not get dominated by guys like Mitchell Robinson when they play against each other. Damian Lillard, it's Dame time. If you asked Damian Lillard, he would have told you he didn't play good basketball last year. Dealt with that oblique injury, that abdomen injury. Was sidelined pretty much for the whole second half of the season. I'm looking for Dame and a new improved Portland Trailblazers squad to compete in the West. Dame is that guy. Logo Lillard's going to have a big year. De'Aaron Fox. Look, when Tyrese Halliburton was traded, a lot of people were like, y'all chose to keep Fox over Halliburton, and Fox took that personal. If you look at the stats and the splits, once Halliburton left, Fox was one of the best point guards in the NBA. Can he build off of that and be a guy that the Kings can rely on to hopefully one day get Sacktown to not be the laughingstock of the NBA? Devin Vassell. The 6'5" swingman was considered a steal with the 11th pick of the 2020 draft. He showed flashes the last season with improved numbers across the board. Yet rather than grow up and step in with this team, the Spurs have seemingly hit the reset button. This is a guy, look, you're picked in the lottery. You're expected to be great. It's going into year 2. I'm expecting Vassell to take a step this year. OG Anunoby, one of my favorite two-way players in the NBA. This is a guy that gets it done on offense and on defense. If he can get to a level where he plays 75 games a year, that team with him, Pascal Siakam, there's guys on that team, Fred VanVleet, that they can compete in the Eastern Conference. He's got to take a step, though, on the offensive end, in my opinion. Malik Beasley, he was shipped from Minnesota to Utah in that Rudy Gobert trade, and now he's going to be a guy that's getting a lot of minutes. Someone that once scored 20 points per game with Minnesota, can he now do that as one of the lead guards for the Jazz? The Jazz aren't trying to win many games, but Beasley, look, it's all about getting that sack, being a paper chaser. That's what he's trying to do this season. Last guy, Rui Hachimura. Injuries have clouded his career so far. The former lottery pick has played in just 147 games over 3 seasons. Look, he shot really well from 3 last year, 44.7%. It just has to be on more of a consistent basis. This is a guy that has all the potential to be great, but this is the year next to Bradley Beal and Kristaps Porzingis. Can he be that third option that Washington is looking forward to? I appreciate everybody that's made NBA Now by Chat Sports a part of their day today. If you made it this far in the video, that means you're a real one. So I want to do a real one roll call this way. Whoever comments Marshy, that's what they call me here at Chat Sports. Whoever comments Marshy the most in the comment section, I'll give you a shout out on Tuesday's NBA video.